Hello YouTube, it's Pooter 1176. Headed to town, did run a few errands. Thought I'd do this little video leaving the house. I'm gonna do a little ranting and a little raving right now. I got a phone call earlier this morning. You can see where I live is a rural area. I got a phone call from a state plumbing inspector that works out of our local health department. And he told me, or asked me, if I had ever hooked my water service up. They just ran city water up this road back last spring. And when they did, me being a waterman, I work for a water company, I went ahead and hooked it up, got my water going. Well, he called me and asked me why I hadn't called him and let him know, which I did have to get a plumbing permit whenever I paid for my tap and everything through where I work. But I did that, I paid him. Well, I got the guys that laid the line, contractors, I left the fittings and everything for them to go ahead and just put my line right onto the meter set, so I wouldn't have a splice. And you can open up the meter box lid and you can see my line going straight in to the utilities setter that holds the meter and regulator. Well, he said he wanted to inspect it, and I explained to him that when I bought my place, I ran some gas lines for my gas log, my backup heat, and I went ahead and buried my water line. I had a ditch witch borrowed off a guy, and I went ahead and laid the line. He said, well, that wasn't an existing line, he didn't need to see that, but he did need to see the connection. Key words, connection. So I told him, sure, come on out, I'll lift the lid up and you can look right at it. He said, what do you mean? I said, there's no connection other than inside the meter box. You can see it. He said, that's not what he wants to see. I said, but I thought you wanted to see the connection. I do, he says. I said, well, the only connection you're going to see is inside that meter box. He said, no, I want you to dig a hole and let me look at it. I said, I can't dig a hole and let you look at the connection. He said, but that's what I want. I again asked him, I thought you wanted to see the connection. He said, are you refusing? So I asked him, are you refusing? He said, what do you mean? I said, well, I paid you to come and inspect it, and you're refusing to come and look at the connection that you want to see. And he let me know that I was being hard to deal with, and I told him I wasn't being hard to deal with, that I was just trying to understand what he wanted. Needless to say, I ended up refusing it, because I told him if he wanted to dig it up, he was welcome to, but all he was going to see was a piece of black pipe in there. But he said he would, he then said he would contact his supervisor and tell him that I refused it. I said, well, what's the repercussions of that? He said, well, I could have the utility company pull your meter. I said, so let me get this straight. You're going to get the utility company, which I worked for and have for the past 10 years, come out and pull my meter, even though my bills are paid, there's no delinquency on it. You think they're going to take my meter out? He said, well, if I wanted them to, I could tell them. So, buddy, you do whatever you have to do, and I'll do what I have to do. But I don't believe there'll be no meters pulled at my place. So he hung the phone up on me. So I am on my way to town, and I'm going to get some poster board, and I'm going to make a sign showing him where he can dig, and I'm going to stick a shovel in the ground and tape that sign to the shovel. And either that or I'm going to put a no trespassing sign. I don't know which. But it's just me, or I mean, I live out in rural county. There's no code. Seems like a state government is trying to walk all over me. I'm getting fed up with it. Last night, I got another phone call this morning from my mom. My dad got robbed last night. He's got a 16-24 outbuilding we built. And found a bunch of beer bottles in it. And he was missing a bunch of tools. I lost some tools that I had over there. A bandsaw, some paint guns, stuff like that. So I'm not really worried about the tools. It's just the point that you can't really do anything. I called a local deputy, he's a friend of mine. He said about the only thing they could do was if they could pick up prints off of the beer bottles. They could find out who it was, but if we couldn't find the stuff, we couldn't prove that they took it. I mean, it's pretty well designed for you to not have a chance. Other than just either shooting them, whipping their ass, or doing something like that, I don't know. Which I'm still inclined to do that. But you know, it's a shame and disgrace that this country has turned into what it has. I mentioned my grandfather in an earlier video. I mean, right there was a man. He left home when he was 12 years old. Rode a train, hopped a train like a hobo to Maine from Kentucky, from eastern Kentucky in the mountains. Never left the mountains before. Rode a train to Maine, worked on farms during the Depression, him and his dad. Came back here and started a family. Didn't have no education. He did have a strong back and a will to make it. I don't know. I just wish there was more people like that. My other grandfather, he didn't have much of an education. He left the area, joined the Navy in World War II, came back, started a large family, worked in the coal mines for 30, 40 years. I don't know, those men, I mean, they had grit. Then you've got dope heads, drunks, thieves, molesters. I don't know. I don't see how the world can stand it much longer myself. I hate to sound like I'm complaining, but I just get fed up sometimes. Just venting, I guess. Well, this is Poodle 1176. Leave any comments. Hope you liked the video, even though it was driving and complaining. Or opinions, some might say. Come back and see me.